Good afternoon, and welcome to the final session of our Spring 2026 Publisher Roadshows. Today we're going to be diving into young adult books, and we've got a lineup of wonderful publishers for you who are all ready to show you their top picks and highlights for the spring season all the way through to June. I really hope you get as much inspiration from these presentations as I have, and that you've enjoyed all the Publisher Roadshows if you've attended the others. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rob, Head of PR at Anderson Press. My email is at the bottom of this slide, so please do get in touch if you're interested in any author events or POS requests. Our key YA title for spring this year is This Boy I Hardly Know by 2 times Waterstones Prize shortlisted author Lisa Heathfield. You may recall Lisa's books Seed and Paper Butterflies and remember just how powerful her books can be. This is no different. Set against the backdrop of the UK's broken care system, this is a beautiful coming-of-age love story and ode to the bond between sisters. It follows 16-year-old Dusty, who is fiercely protective of her younger sister Poppy. One day, the pair are tragically separated and Dusty moves into a children's home. She meets the beautiful and fierce Cooper, and together they set out on a road trip in the hopes of reuniting the sisters. Lisa was inspired to write the book after teaching in a children's residential home, where she witnessed the treatment of many vulnerable children. This book is a rallying cry for change and awareness, and is truly unforgettable. It is perfect for fans of Jennifer Niven and Lisa Williamson, and we've had great success with author quotes. Kira Smith called it a raw, real and full of heart, and Luke Palmer said, Lisa Heathfield's brilliant protagonist is full of urgent love, complex betrayals and ferocious secrets. Lisa is available for events and is based in Brighton. Thank you for your time.
Hi, my name's Jess and I work in the publicity team here at Osborne. I'm really excited to be here to talk to you about some of our new YA titles coming in 2026, including books from Holly Bourne and Farida Abike Iyamide. Best-selling author Ravina Guron published her debut YA thriller in 2023, This Book Kills, and with combined sales of all 3 of her YA titles sitting at 95,000, Ravina's YA thrillers are perfect for readers who enjoy a story that keeps them on the edge of their seat. Ravina is now publishing her 4th title with Osborne this May. Your Murder Next is a deadly new thriller, and here's Ravina to tell you a little bit more about the story.
Hi, I'm Ravina Guron, author of Your Murder Next, which is a young adult thriller about a girl who wants to investigate the death of her classmate, which has been written off as an accident, but she thinks it's a murder. And to investigate, she goes away on holiday with her 3 big suspects to a glass house in the woods. And while she's in these woods, a stranger comes up to her, holds up a gun and says, I've killed one of those suspects, and you're going to tell me who and why. Otherwise, it's going to be your murder next. I was inspired by Agatha Christie, and particularly when she comes up with very implausible sounding scenarios and then slowly pulls back to reveal the logic, and that's what I wanted to do here. Have a book which starts out with us being told the murderer and not the victim.
Up next, the eagerly anticipated new thriller from Farida Abike Iyamide, the best-selling author of murder mystery thrillers such as Ace of Spades and Where Sleeping Girls Lie. Farida's new book is an unputdownable read. It's pitched as The Inheritance Games meets Knives Out, and I'm going to hand you over to Farida to hear a little bit more about what you can expect from The Heirs, which is publishing this June.
Hello, I'm Farida Abike Iyamide. My book, The Heirs, is a thrilling new murder mystery about the wealthy Button family, more specifically the genius siblings in this famous family, who were brought up by their very strict father under his very strict Button method. The very method that turned them all into young prodigies. But when their father is suddenly murdered at the 10th anniversary of his annual prodigy ball, it is up to Mr. Button's genius heirs to figure out who murdered their father. But with lies and secrets everywhere, it is hard to know if they can trust anyone, even each other. If you're a fan of puzzles, smart teenagers and murder, then watch out for The Heirs.
And a sneak peek for 2 more titles coming from Usborne this year. First up, a new addictive YA thriller from the Queen of Twists, Kate Francis. Set in Camp Smiling Skies, a wilderness therapy camp for troubled teens. At least that's what it says in the brochure. In truth, it's filled with dark secrets, cruel counsellors, and no chance of escape. This is perfect for fans of The Traitors and Karen McManus, and will publish this July. And if you haven't checked out Kate's debut, which published last year, you definitely should. That's called Circle of Liars. Then we have a new book from Holly Bourne, which will publish in September. This is set in the small town of Maple Lakes, where everything was perfect until the cheerleaders started screaming. This is a mind-blowing YA that's full of mystery, conspiracy, and dark secrets, and perfect for fans of E. Lockhart and Kathleen Glasgow. Loads of exciting new titles to look forward to in 2026. Visit Usborne on NetGalley to request to read our books early. I've popped the link here. You can also scan this QR code to sign up to our librarian mailing list to receive proofs, exclusive event opportunities, and much more. And I've also put my email address here in case you want to get in touch with me. Thanks for listening.
Hi guys, so my name is Grace and I look after the marketing and publicity at Firefly Press. And I just wanted to take a few moments to run through our young adult titles publishing between January and July this year. So, starting off strong, we have Georgie by Malachy Doyle. This is a hard-hitting, bold and deeply sensitive young adult novel, perfect for fans of It's a Kind of Funny Story and The Perks of Being a Wallflower. So we're actually publishing Georgie as part of our new Firefly Classics from Wales series. This series celebrates the best English language stories from Wales. This novel follows Georgie, a 14-year-old boy who hasn't spoken in years. Withdrawn, isolated and full of rage, no one trusts him and no one gets close to him. But then he has moved to a new home in the Welsh countryside. Instead of an empty room with a bare mattress on the floor, he has a proper bed, a music system and a mirror. There even seems to be someone here who might want to be his friend. Is this the place where Georgie can finally overcome his fears and unlock the secrets of his past? This story is raw, gritty, but it's still hopeful and uplifting. It focuses on mental health and the power of kindness. So we're really keen to get Georgie into schools and libraries. So we're offering free activity packs and subsidised events. And with the generous help from the Books Council of Wales, we're giving out a limited amount of free copies of this title to schools in and around Wales. So please do get in touch if you'd be interested. And there are no strings attached. So next up we have Showstopper by debut author Tom Ramsey. This is a joyous, feel-good queer romance set in the world of musical theatre. It's a life-affirming read that centres around larger-than-life Ollie, who is back at the UK's most prestigious competition for teen performers to prove he has what it takes to be a leading man. It's here that he meets nervous newbie Taryn, and when the two boys are first paired together, they don't quite see eye to eye. However, amidst the drama of rehearsals, could two boys be falling in love? Showstopper is such a fun read, jam-packed full with musical theatre references and the perfect enemies to lovers romance. Tom is based in London and super keen to get on board with events. He was a high school drama teacher for 6 years, so he does know his way around a class full of teenagers. So with this book, we're offering bookmarks and potentially posters. Let me know if you'd be interested in having some in. So last but definitely not least, we have Wonderland. This is a stunning young adult verse novel from award-winning poet, academic and children's author Patience Agbabi. This book is all about finding your tribe, finding records and finding yourself, and it is perfect for fans of Dean Atter and Manji Man. Set in Colwyn Bay in 1980, Wonderland centres around 16-year-old Tammy Lola, who has moved up from London with her Nigerian mother, but everything's different and she feels like everyone belongs except her. However, she then discovers an amazing club, Wonderland, at the end of the pier, a northern soul scene with athletic dancers and rare records. Could she find her tribe and her people here? This is an outstanding YA verse novel from an incredibly accomplished writer, and we're planning on keeping Patience booked and busy throughout May.
Patience is a lecturer at the University of Wales, so is superb at events, a very confident public speaker, and you may be familiar with Patience's other books, such as The Infinite, which was published by Canongate and also won Wales Book of the Year in 2021. We're due proofs in shortly, and we'll be doing POS such as bookmarks and posters, so do get in touch if you would like any of those. So that is everything from me. Please, please, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me via email with any proof requests, POS requests, or just general queries. I'm always happy to hop on a call if need be. I love working with librarians, so please, please do get in touch. Happy to have a chat. Thanks, guys.
Hi there, SLA members. I'm Danny Price, and I'm here to introduce to you the young adult fiction list from Rock the Boat. These books publish from January 2026 to June 2026. So first up, publishing in February is House of Roots and Ruin. This is the second book in the best-selling Sisters of Salt series. The first book, House of Salt and Sorrows, published in the UK in November. Both these books have been out in the US from about 2019 and have been huge bestsellers. And so it's really great that Rock the Boat have picked up the publication rights for the UK. So in this story, we follow the life of Verity Thalmus. She's one of the 12 sisters from the first book. Unfortunately, in that first book, 6 of them were killed, all in kind of unusual ways, different and unusual ways. But in this book, Verity it's a strive for Verity's independence. So she's a talented painter. She gets a commission on the mainland. They live on this island, but she gets a commission on the mainland of Bloem, and she runs away from her very protective older sister to prove her independence. But there she uncovers some really eerie secrets, and there's a dangerous romance with this guy called Alexander, and also these supernatural threats that came out in the first book appear again. So it's a bit of a coming of age, and then she also has to confront some dark forces. So if you love fairy tale retellings, if you love twisty and mysterious gothic YA literature, if you love a dark watery setting, some romance and some intrigue, then these books absolutely do it all. They're actually really compelling, really, really fun, really, really readable, and quite hooky. So I can see why they've been so popular. So definitely, get your little blanket on, get a hot drink. These are perfect winter reads. Next up on the list is Tidespeaker. Actually, this published in January. So this is a debut. It's young adult fantasy, but this time its protagonist is Corith Frame, and she is a water mage, and she is an autistic water mage. And in the novel, she secures a life-changing position serving a powerful noble family on this isolated, storm-battered tidal island. So she learns that her predecessor, who was her best friend, died there under mysterious circumstances, and now she's been offered the job of her best friend. So she's clearly going there with trepidation. Once she's there, there's dark secrets, there's political intrigue, plus there is this slow burn romance. So while she's uncovering the truth and learning to trust her own power, she's also falling in love. Readers love the novel for its atmosphere. It's got a really amazing setting, which is based on Lindisfarne in Northumberland, if you know that tidal island up there. There's lots of elemental magic, so there's fire, water, air, and it's a really thoughtful authentic portrayal of Corinth's autism. I don't think, and you can correct me if you're wrong, there's another autistic protagonist in fantasy, YA fantasy. So it's really nice to see this here. Yeah, I think as well, Sadie is really influenced by the Brontes, so it definitely has that sort of wild gothic feeling about the novel too. And this is the first in duology. The second one's out in January next year. So we move to March and we move away from gothic fantasy and we move on to romance. This is In Time With You by Kristen Dwyer, and it's out on the 5th of March. In Time With You, we follow Neve Monroe, who is a college student, utterly devastated by the death of her boyfriend Carter, who drowned saving her. She is completely grief-stricken and consumed with guilt, and so she takes herself away, goes to visit her grandmother, who, while she's there, talks about these mysterious happenings and magic things that happen. And when Neve wakes up the next day, she's actually gone back in time and she's back on the first day of college, before she even met Carter. And it now, this trip to the past gives her a chance to keep him safe. But as she's trying to rewrite history and she's trying to desperately distance herself from Carter so she doesn't fall in love with him again, he doesn't fall in love with her, she draws closer to his best friend, Max. So In Time With You is a beautifully original book. It's a magical romance and it's a bit of an emotional roller coaster, just keeping you prepped. There's heartbreak, there's self-discovery, and it has this lovely time loop twist in it. So if you do love magical realism and romance, bit of spice, then it's the perfect book. So next up is our YA thriller, Better Off Dead by Tess James Mackey. This follows 17-year-old Lacey, who takes a summer job at a rundown caravan park in North Wales to save up enough money to join her older sister in Paris. So what should be a straightforward job then spirals into a chilling nightmare when one of the guests is brutally murdered. And there's also rumours of a haunting at the caravan park, and Lacey begins to feel like she's being watched. So she's having to really uncover the mysteries of these murders before she becomes the next victim. So it's tense, it's atmospheric, the setting is brilliant, the caravan park. It's a blend of thriller, mystery and the supernatural. There's unpredictable twists, there's a creepy feeling that keeps you on your toes and you're not quite sure where it's going to go, as all great thrillers do. So yeah, it's definitely a page turner and a really fun escapist read for young adult thriller fans. We have this fantastic book by Irish author Stephen Daly, and it's out in April. And here's Stephen to do a quick introduction to his novel, The Last Death Poet.
Hi, I'm Stephen Daly, author of The Last Death Poet. This is my debut book. It's a supernatural LGBTQ plus thriller set in Belfast about a teenager who moves here and is suddenly hit with these visions of the past that reveal a little bit about the troubles, Belfast past, family secrets, and how it all links to Irish mythology. I think this will appeal to young readers and readers that feel young at heart, that enjoy horror, thriller, mysteries, and a little bit of magic.
So I love this book. I think it perfectly balances this supernatural intrigue, these family dynamics, and a thriller. But also mixed with a really lovely coming-of-age story starring a genuinely likeable LGBTQ plus protagonist, Michael. It's set in Belfast, and the novel intertwines like queer identity with the city's past political history and the dark forces of Irish mythology, and it creates a really rich beautiful backdrop. So the result of Stephen's writing is like an unforgettable story. There's a paranormal twist, and it keeps readers hooked from start to finish. And here's our last one for January to June. It's an April title. It is To Steal a Throne by Gabby Burton. The proofs came out last year. Oh my gosh, we have had so many requests for this title on social media. So here is Gabby, here to introduce you to Steal a Throne.
My name is Gabby Burton, and I am the Sunday Times bestselling author of Sing Me to Sleep. I am super excited to introduce you to my next fantasy series, To Steal a Throne. It's about a girl named Mira, and she has magic that's fueled by deception. So she's basically a human lie detector. She's used her skills to collect the secrets of the powerful men who run her kingdom, write about all their scandals a la Lady Whistledown, and blackmail them to do her bidding. She's used her powers of persuasion, blackmail, to scheme her older brother onto the throne. She's grown tired of sort of sitting in his shadow, so she decides to steal power for herself by competing in a deadly tournament for her kingdom's throne. The only wrench in her plan is Cadron Vale. He's new to court, very arrogant, and has magic of his own, the ability to detect hers. With just a single touch, he'll know that she's the schemer who's been blackmailing the court for years. She's determined to resist his touch. She might be a little bit complicated considering he's her competition in the tournament for the throne. And even more complicated as she slowly starts to realize that maybe, just maybe, she doesn't hate him as much as she thought. This is a story with blackmail, political intrigue, and a slow burn rivals to lovers romance. It's about a power-hungry girl who's pushed to her breaking point in a world that makes her feel powerless. Writing this book was a true labor of rage. I hope people have as much fun with it as I had writing it. It was fun, it was cathartic, and I hope readers love it.
So yes, this one really leans into the social media romantasy craze, and honestly we've had so many requests for this title, so I think it's going to be really popular. Its comp titles are Divine Rivals, The Cruel Prince, The Crimson Moth, but with a much more diverse cast. So Gabby's obviously a young black author. She's very proactive on Instagram and TikTok. Query Queen 339 is her handle. She's very passionate about bringing diversity and themes of power and oppression to YA fantasy audiences. Her previous duology, which included Sing Me to Sleep and Drown Me with Dreams, was with Hod Escape, and SMTS was a Sunday Times bestseller. So Sing Me to Sleep was a Sunday Times bestseller. I'm sure you've all heard of this one. Absolutely love this one. The female main character is so ambitious and driven, and she seeks to take power for herself, and it's so full of political scheming and intrigue that it's really fun to read. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Hi everyone, Leanne from Simon & Schuster Children's Books here to talk to you about some of the amazing young adult books we've got coming in the first half of the year, starting with the incredible Sarah Crossan. Multi-award winning, supremely talented, we have brought Sarah over to the SNS list to write a commercial, pacey, young adult thriller. This is Gone for Good. It is suspenseful, it's page-turning, but it is told in Sarah's signature verse novel style, which marries beautifully with a thriller because it really gets you turning the pages, wanting to find out what happens next. It is about Connie, who has been taken from her home in the middle of the night to a remote facility for troubled teens. And the more time she spends there, the more she realizes that this could be dangerous, she's vulnerable, and there are mysteries to solve, particularly around missing girls. Really, our ambition for this is to do for the verse novel what Heartstopper did for graphic novels, and we know how amazing verse is for getting kids hooked on reading. To introduce you to G Forsyth Reid, one half of podcasting and presenting duo Ali and G, they have a really engaged young audience known as the Galleys, so a real sense of community amongst their listeners and their fans. G is essentially the Gen Z version of Dolly Alderton, the internet's big sister, and her debut novel is really a love letter to female friendship, about 4 girls caught in that limbo summer between college and university when they are on the precipice of the rest of their lives. So navigating whether they want to continue with education, their family situation, their romantic relationships, they're all navigating slightly different circumstances, but at the core of the book is that female friendship. There is also a bit of a twist in that 2 years previously, they scheduled a bunch of text messages to be sent to one another, and when these start to arrive, it brings confessions and secrets. This is really Dolly Alderton meets Jacqueline Wilson's Girls in Love series from an author that knows this audience so incredibly well. Now, something quite different from Soman Chinani, the creator of The School for Good and Evil. This is Young World, about a disaffected teenager named Benton, who posts a video online urging people to nominate him to become the President of the United States. He's only doing this to impress a girl, but when the video goes viral, he is in fact elected president age 17, and this sparks a movement, a revolution, where the leaders of the world are all teenagers. When there is an assassination, the new American president, Benton, is the chief suspect. Up to him to figure out what is really going on. It is told in this truly unique mixed media style with redacted articles, journal entries, maps, online pieces. It's really immersive and in a style that I think will be really intriguing to lots of teenage readers, particularly those that are really interested in politics and the world around them. It's a really groundbreaking book. This is Drop Dead Famous by Jenny Pearson, a young adult crime thriller that begins when pop star and global sensation Blair Baker returns to her hometown for a triumphant return gig. She is kind of like Sabrina Carpenter, Taylor Swift, Olivia Rodrigo. She is a huge pop star, so everyone in her hometown is so excited for her return. And when she takes to the stage, they erupt into applause and screams. And what initially looks like screams of excitement are in fact screams of terror, when everyone realises, along with Blair's younger sister Stevie, who is in the crowd, that Blair has in fact been murdered, and there are screams of terror. Stevie takes it upon herself to go onto a dangerous journey through the toxic underbelly of fame, finding out what her sister was really embroiled in. It's pacey, it is page-turning, it's got twists that you will not see coming. Finally, The Danger of Small Things is a feminist young adult dystopia with a compelling environmental twist. It is set in a world where honeybees have died out and girls are sent away from home, forced to pollinate crops by hand. They are also forced to marry as soon as they can. It's a world where famines are rife, and it's a world completely devoid of art or music or books. And our main character, 14-year-old Jess, knows that there has to be more to life than this. She begins to challenge and interrogate this dangerous system, and despite being 14 years old, she believes that she can really stoke a revolution. This is truly masterful storytelling from Carol Lewis. Multi-award winning, Branford Bowes shortlisted. She has won awards for her writing in both English and in Welsh. This is The Handmaid's Tale meets Parable of the Sower for a Hunger Games audience, and it is truly magnificent storytelling. Thank you so much for your time and attention. If there's anything you need on any of these books, don't hesitate to get in touch.
Hi, I'm Ruth from Chicken House Books, and I'm here to talk to you about some exciting YA titles we have coming up this springtime. First up, we have the funny, dramatic, and deliciously dark Sweet and Sour by Monique Turner. This is perfect for people who love a Black Mirror twist. Monique is drawing on her experience working with influencers. She used to be a scriptwriter for a high-profile YouTuber and saw the inbox, his inbox full of young people, teens who wanted to be influencers, and thought that if they became an influencer, then they would make loads of money and their life would be sorted. So she wanted to write in this book and her previous book, Island of Influencers, to show the kind of downsides, the pros and cons of the influencer world. But Sweet and Sour is all about AI in the creative industries, which is so prevalent at the minute, especially within publishing. And it's about a group of kids who decide that whenever AI influencer robots take over the internet, and they decide to make their own content about human beings being human beings, and they start to push themselves to the extremes to prove that humans are more entertaining. Would really recommend giving this one a read. Next up, we have Kill Me Now by Helen Price, which is a gripping YA crime thriller. Think Good Girl's Guide to Murder, kind of Riverdale meets One of Us is Lying. Perfect for everyone in their murder mystery obsession era. It's got nasty school cliques, first crushes set in a school setting. And Helen really kind of perfectly captures the voice and inner struggles of teens. It's about when school golden boy Riley North is found dead. The funeral director's son is accused, and determined to clear his name, he teams up with a group of kids, and they unravel the twisted layers of school. And it's set in a really small town where everyone has secrets, but everyone is up in each other's business. Really exciting one coming out in February this year. Next, I have the gorgeous A Million Tiny Missiles All at Once. You may already be aware of this one, as the author Lucas Maxwell is an award-winning librarian. This is a heartrending and poignant portrayal of family and addiction and growing up neurodivergent, kind of inspired by the author's experiences, and set in wintry Nova Scotia. A Million Tiny Missiles is the winner of the Times Chicken House competition 2024, and we're so excited that this one is coming out on the 9th of April this year. You may see it. It was the cover on the bookseller. Lucas was cover on the bookseller this week, and he had a whole feature in there. But it's really gorgeous story, and I think a must read for everyone. And last but not least, I have the first book in an epic all-action fantasy series from new YA star Tig Wallace. This is for anyone who is a little bit sick of seeing romantasy everywhere. This is an epic fantasy. I really recommend giving it a go. It's got the kind of close-up action of Twisters, but meets the magical setting of Shadow and Bone. Intricately crafted fantasy world where magic and science collide, and the world is kind of divided between the magic users and the science users. This is from Tig Wallace, who's publishing director at Little Brown, but he's previously worked in Penguin Random House Children's and worked on Wimpy Kid and Shadow and Bone, and so we're really excited to be publishing his YA debut. And that's everything I've got for you, and thanks so much.
Hello, my name is Sinead and I'm the senior editor at Little Island Books. In my hand, I hold a proof of Shorelines by Ruth Ennis, a debut novel in verse coming your way on the 6th of February 2026. This is a retelling of The Little Mermaid, but nothing quite like you've ever read before. Muireann is a mermaid, fierce, curious, and proud of her fat body that keeps her warm beneath the waves. But life in the ocean is becoming impossible. The merfolk are at war with the human ramifications of climate change, and her sister has just been killed in a mass fishing net. With her mother consumed by grief and her world falling apart, Muireann longs to escape to the surface. But the human world is nothing like she hoped for. It's colder, crueler, and here her large body isn't seen as a thing of beauty, but as something to be ashamed of. On the surface, Muireann must fight for what she believes in, find her voice, and fight for the home that has always kept her warm. We were blown away by this debut when it came into our inbox in Little Island, and it's been a joy to work on the book and see Ruth's world come to life. This is not only a book about a well-loved story tale, this is a book about complexities of power, of greed, of what we're doing as human beings to this planet. And it's also a glorious exploration of what grief and love is. I do hope you enjoyed as much as we have.
My name is Catherine Allport. I manage the publicity for Guppy Books, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about our young adult titles that are publishing between January and June 2026. I'm going to start with the paperback edition of Best of All Worlds by Kenneth Oppel, which is publishing in April this year. Some of you will know Ken already from his previous novels, including Ghostlight, which was shortlisted for the Carnegie Medal in 2022, and his Silverwing series as well, which Guppy publishes as graphic novels. Ken's Best of All Worlds was published in hardback in 2025 and got the most incredible coverage. It was named as one of the Times Books of the Year at the end of last year, and was also reviewed in the Financial Times, The Guardian, the Daily Mail, the Daily Mirror, you name it. It's absolutely fantastic to see, so we're really excited to have this coming out in paperback. It has also been nominated for the Carnegie Medal 2026. It's set in a dystopian version of North America, and centres around a teenager called Xavier, who one day wakes up and finds that he, his dad, and his very pregnant stepmom have been transported to a dome. There is no one else in the dome. There's wildlife, there's domestic animals that they can rear for meat. There are supplies to keep them living, but there are no other people around. Fast forward a couple of years, and another family arrives in the dome who have very, very, very different views to Xavier and his very liberal family, with explosive consequences. It's a real commentary on opposing political views and moral views, and one could say that it's quite topical for this current news climate. Onto this absolutely incredible debut novel by Ellen Osborne. Ellen won the 2024 Guppy Open Submission, and she's in really, really good company. She's following in the steps of Nadia Mikhail, who was the first ever Guppy Open Submission winner and went on to win the Waterstones Prize in 2023. And then O. Sorrell, who won the Guppy Open Submission in 2023, went on to be shortlisted for the YA Prize in 2024. Now, this book, I've put a comp here comparing it to The Hunger Games, which is punchy, but you have to hear me out on this one. Last time I read a book that made me feel the way that Seeker in the Shade feels was The Hunger Games, and that was probably 18 years ago in my first publishing job. It is absolutely brilliant. It's so fast-paced. It is so unpredictable. It's twisty, it's turny, and there's a bit of romance in there as well. The story centres around a community who are living in fear of the Shade. The Shade is this malevolent black force that seems to be encroaching on the living. It is inhabited by terrifying spectres, and if you get absorbed into it, then that is it. You are dead. You will never be found again. There is a school/army base called Blackwood, who are training teenagers and young adults to fight the Shade. And Connie, our main character, enrolls, hoping to become a caster as one of the roles. Casters are paired with Seekers, who are the more powerful of the two, and together the pair go into the Shade to try and fight it off. Connie is paired with Jasper, the very aloof, very charming, but very standoffish, arrogant, extremely good-looking young man. And the two of them have to set their differences aside in order to battle with the Shade as it gets more and more powerful. It's absolutely brilliant. We are going to be proofing this book. It's coming in May. If you are interested in reading a copy, or if you run a teen book group, we are supplying proofs specifically for book groups in return for reviews and feedback. So drop me a line if you are interested in receiving some copies. My details are on the final slide. And finally, we have A Flood of Memories, which is the second novel from Nadia Mikhail, who, of course, was the winner of the Waterstones Prize in 2023 for The Cats We Meet Along the Way. It's been a long time coming, but it is well worth the wait. This is an absolutely fantastic novel about family, about friendship, and about finding yourself after the breakdown of a questionably difficult relationship. It is set in Malaysia, which is also Nadia's home country. And we see our main character returning to her childhood home as floodwaters are rising, and is forced to confront her past as she clears out her mother and father's house. It is absolutely brilliant, full of emotions, and a worthy follow-up to The Cats We Meet Along the Way, and we're expecting strong awards coverage for this one, as well as strong reviews as well. Again, we will be proofing this, so if you're interested in receiving a copy, please let me know. Stop tour through our three big YA titles that are coming between January and June this year. If you've got any questions about these books, these authors, or any Guppy authors, please feel free to drop me a line. I am Catherine Allport. I'm hello@catherineallportpr.co.uk. But Liz Scott is also managing a lot of the activity for our YA novels over the coming months. And she is liz@lizscottpr.co.uk. I look forward to hearing from you.
Hello, I'm from Hachette Children's Group, and today I'll be taking you through some of our books for young adults and teens that are publishing this year. I'm pleased to say that all of these titles are publishing between January and June, so they'll all be available very soon. Up first, we'll be taking a look at some of our romance titles. I'm pleased to say that the brilliant Jennifer Jacopelli, who's the iconic author of popular YA sports romances, has new covers for her 4 books. Break the Fall is all about gymnasts, Finding Her Edge is all about ice skating, and is also soon to be a Netflix series. And then Game Set Match and Wildcard is set in the world of tennis. So there really is something for everyone, whether you're into sport or you just love a good slow burn romance. Unbridled by Cale McCain follows 3 couples, 2 rival stables, and 1 unforgettable summer. Welcome to Primrose Vale, where everyone knows everyone, and everyone has their secrets. This is Made in Chelsea meets Elsie Silver, and it's a steamy young adult romance full of scandal, gossip, and rivalries. Your Favourite Fake Girlfriend by B. Ingalls is very sweet, very swoony, and is a fake dating romance, because life's never perfect, but pretending might be. This is a dreamy contemporary love story from the brilliantly talented author of We Used to Be Magic, and is perfect for those younger readers as there's nothing steamy on the page. And now let's take a look at some of our thrillers coming out soon. Revenge is a Dish best served cold, Dream Vacation, or Holiday from Hell. How the Other Half Kill by P.C. Roscoe is a tense follow-up to How the Other Half Die. It's a steamy and suspenseful thriller full of family scandal and, of course, a touch of murder. Steal His Name, Solve His Murder. Get ready for queer mayhem in this gritty psychological thriller filled with stolen identity, true crime, and first love, from the best-selling author of All That's Left in the World, the fantastic Eric J. Brown. 7 players enter an escape room. Only 6 walked out. 6 Must Die by Victoria Volsock is an edge-of-your-seat queer YA slasher as 6 ex-friends race against the clock to survive a killer escape room, from the author of How to Find a Missing Girl. Escaping the past is impossible when the present threatens to devour you. To the Death by Melissa Welliver is a heart-stopping YA dystopia where outsiders and islanders are pitted against each other, and the undead, in a game show to the death. Jennifer Lynn Barnes, the best-selling author of the Inheritance games, had a momentous year last year with her series The Naturals. So to celebrate, we're re-releasing them in a beautiful hardback special edition, complete with sprayed edges, that we just know will look perfect all lined up on your bookshelves. Now that we're finished with our thrillers, it's time to take a look at our fantasy titles. A New Reign is coming. Rebellion, dark magic, desire, and horror all collide in the start to this epic ancient Egyptian-inspired fantasy trilogy. His Faces the Sun was an instant New York Times bestseller and is currently Waterstone's YA Book of the Month. We also have the second book in the series, She Knows All the Names, publishing in hardback in May. This series went wild online and teenagers and young adults loved it, so we cannot wait to see the fanbase grow as we publish the second book later this year. Gods Beneath the Ice by Alexandra Cunnington is the page-turning conclusion to her Blood and Souls duology. Heartbroken and grappling with unwanted powers, Revna must work with the person she swore to forget if she's to lead her people and unravel the secrets behind her new magic. And finally, Embrace the Serpent by Sunya Mara is a sweeping romantic fantasy that follows a dangerous deal that binds a young jeweler's apprentice to the mysterious Serpent King in a marriage of convenience, thrusting her into a deadly game between the cunning, fearsome ruler and his rebellious huntsman. I appreciate that was a whistle-stop tour of just some of our YA publishing that's coming out between January and June. Please do get in touch with any requests or queries, and we're always more than happy to pop a reading copy in the post for you. We're here to help however we can.
Hi everyone, I'm Pippa Poole, Senior Publicity Manager at Bonnier Books UK. At Bonnier we publish an array of titles across our children's trade imprints, to which we've included all our imprint logos on this slide. This also includes a brand new imprint, Ink Road, which we acquired last year, and it publishes highly commercial YA books. To recap some of last year, we've included a selection of some of our highlights, which hopefully you've seen around. This includes best-selling authors like E. Lockhart, who I'm sure many of you know for We Were Liars, and award winners like Nathaniel Lazor's King of Nothing, which we were delighted won the Waterstones Children's Book Prize Older Readers category and the Carnegie Shadowers Choice Medal for Writing last year. We're going to talk more about Nathaniel in a little bit too. Looking ahead to this year, from our Hotkey Books imprint for teen and YA readers, we're delighted to talk about our first graphic novel to the list for Hotkey. Launching in January, we have Book 1, Arcana the Lost Heirs, followed in quick succession with Book 2, Arcana the Cursed Fate, in June. Gorgeously illustrated in full colour by Brighton-based author-illustrator Sam Prentice-Jones, the graphic novel duology is a fantasy romance brimming with queer joy and magic. For ages 16 plus, it perfectly combines the visual flair and magical world of Lore Olympus with the emotional heart and character-driven storytelling of Heartstopper. We've included some example spreads here as well, so you can see a bit more of what the insides are like of Book 1. We are also thrilled to share that we have another standalone comedy for teens aged 11 plus coming from the multi-award winning author Nathaniel Lazor, who is also a World Book Day 2026 author with Against All Odds. Like a Brother publishes in May in paperback and is complete with Nate's usual humour whilst touching on important topics impacting teens today. This includes privilege, toxic masculinity, and a new topic of homophobia for Nate's fiction. It's all inspired by his own teenage years when a cousin came to live with his family. Finally, for ages 16 plus, we are so excited to share we're publishing The Escape Game, an unforgettable YA murder mystery set in an escape room themed game show by Marissa Mayer, New York Times best-selling author of The Lunar Chronicles, and Tamara Moss, rising star and acclaimed author of the Lintang series. It's a twisty thrill ride, perfect for fans of One of Us is Lying and the Inheritance games, out in April. Thank you so much for listening, and do not hesitate to get in touch if you have any questions or would like to discuss anything. We've included our best email addresses here. Thank you.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to Bloomsbury Children's Books presentation for the SLA Roadshow YA. First, we have Day of Now by Miranda Reason. This publishes on the 12th of February 2026 in hardback. To Survive, Trust No One, an explosive dystopian YA novel perfect for fans of The Last of Us and All That's Left in the World. This is a powerful post-apocalyptic story about growing up fast and facing impossible choices. Described as fresh, original, and genuinely affecting dystopian novel by schoolreadinglist.co.uk, join Pax and Diana on their journey of survival in a world where a devastating fungal pandemic has wiped out most of society. Miranda Reason grew up in Anglo-German household, spending most of her childhood living in Hastings on the coast of southern England, and in a small village in Bavaria. This is her debut English novel. Second, we have These Shattered Spires by Cassidy Ellis Salter. This publishes on the 10th of March 2026 in hardback. In a rotten and bloody world, 4 magical rivals are forced to work together to avoid certain death in a deadly competition. This is gothic, visceral, and utterly compelling. These Shattered Spires is the first book in the Weirdos trilogy. Together, the 4 widows are not just fighting to survive, but to lift the curse upon their world. There must be more to the sky than the dome of teeth and spittle. There must be something beyond the decay of the 4 spires. Described by the bookseller as gory yet sensuous, weird and addictively compelling, These Shattered Spires is a unique magical fantasy about 4 complicated people who must work together to survive. These Shattered Spires is part fantastical court intrigue, part murder mystery, part lush queer romance, and part dysfunctional found family. Cassidy Ellis Salter is a fantasy author who lives with a pile of bone and historical oddities they've rescued from the Thames. They hold a bachelor's degree and an MA in writing from the Warwick Writing Programme, and they live and work in London, England. And finally, we have Boyfriends by Kai Spellmeier. This publishes on the 21st of May 2026 in paperback. How do you close the space between 2 boyfriends? This is a cozy seaside romance perfect for fans of Alice Oseman, Rainbow Rowell, Sophie Gonzalez, and Gilmore Girls. curl up and be swept away by this feel-good, cozy romance. Luca has been secretly in love with Simo for as long as he can remember. He wishes he knew how to tell Simo the truth, but he's terrified it may mean losing his best friend. Figuring out their feelings is hard enough. One thing is for certain, nothing will be the same again. Is their friendship set to break, or can they close the gap between boyfriends? Kai Spellmeyer is a German author currently living in England. He is a children's and YA scout in London and has published 3 YA books in Germany to great success. He writes joyful queer literature and has been blogging about queer books on Instagram for years. Boyfriends is his English language debut. And finally, here are some of the other YA books that we have publishing in the time period as well. They Call Her Regret by Chanel Desamores, Dead Straight Line by Malcolm Duffy, and Songs for Ghosts, which published last year by Clara Kamagai, but is now publishing in paperback. And coming this June, 2026, is the long-anticipated second book by Zulfa Katul, author of As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow. The Ocean Will Paint Me Blue. This publishes on the 4th of June 2026 and is available to pre-order now. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any queries and any inquiries, please email Deborah Ogonoike at deborah.ogonoike@bloomsbury.com. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Alexandra Moody and I am a young adult author from Australia and I write young adult rom-coms. It's a genre that I've been writing in for the last 10 years and one that I absolutely love to write in. I love the idea of bringing books that are popular and themes that are really popular with adults to teenagers, and that's kind of where the idea for my latest series, The Darling Devils, stemmed from. There were so many amazing ice hockey romances coming out for adults, but the genre just had nothing for teenagers. So when I was going into writing the first book in the series, Rival Darling, I was really thinking about what adults love about ice hockey romance and how we can make that more accessible for teenagers. And so that's how that one began. So The Darling Devils is a series of interconnected standalones that follows each member of the Darling family and the 3 brothers, Reed, Grayson and Parker, who are all ice hockey players. They all have terrible reputations around town, but they're all secretly cinnamon rolls inside, which is one of my favorite tropes. The latest book in the series, Wild Darling, is releasing this year, and it follows Parker Darling, who is the youngest brother in the series, and he is trouble with a capital T, and it's his romance with Mackenzie, who is the coach's daughter, and she'll be playing ice hockey too, which I absolutely loved writing. These books are all dual POV, they are filled with banter, fun, and happily ever afters, of course. They're perfect for fans of Jenny Han and Lynn Painter. And I just wanted to say a final note, thank you to the librarians. You guys are integral to this industry and the absolute backbone of it. I know personally growing up, I wouldn't have had the reading journey that I had without the amazing librarians at my school library and at my local library. So thank you guys.
My name is Danielle Clayton, and I'm one of the 6 co-authors of Breakout. It is a young adult mystery thriller set during a spring break holiday where friends go to a luxury resort for sun, fun, and a little kissing. But dead bodies start showing up, and they have to find a way to break out of the resort and get off the island before it's too late and they end up dead too. It is written by me, Tiffany D. Jackson, Nick Stone, Angie Thomas, Ashley Woodfolk, and Nicola Yoon. And we wanted to continue our tradition of collaborative storytelling with our other novels, Blackout and Whiteout. We love working together and are addicted to combining our imaginations. This book will appeal to readers who love mysteries and thrillers and multiple points of view, and of course, messy love. As a former librarian, I want to thank you for all that you do. You are the lighthouses of our communities and our world. Thank you for keeping the lights on for our young people and encouraging us all to read and showing up every day with a love of literacy. Thank you so much.
I'm so pleased to speak to you today about some of the exciting new YA releases that we have coming up from our First Ink imprint. First off, Delve into The Beast We Raise. This is a memorizing sequel to D.L. Taylor's addictive enemies to lovers romancy story, The Beast We Bury, perfect for those fans of Bridget Kemmerer and Adrian Young. Next, prepare to be enchanted and terrified by Julia Alexandra's debut enemies to lovers horror fantasy. This is Midnight on the Celestial. Set on a nightmarish ocean liner with true danger surfacing at night when the ship of dreams transforms into a nightmare, killing all those who wander its halls. Now, publishing in April, we have The Faraway Inn by Sarah Beth Durst. This book is filled with magical mystery, sweet romance, and tons of coziness. Moving on, I'm pleased to introduce Runaway Road by the brilliant Sue Divin. This is a riveting and moving story of family and belonging set in contemporary Northern Ireland, perfect for readers of Margaret MacDonald's Glasgow Boys. Next, we have the heart-pounding sequel to the epic Gods and Monsters fantasy The Sleepless by award-winning Jen Williams. This is The Dreamless. Get ready for even higher stakes, a love triangle that defies fate, and a quest that will test the characters like never before. And finally, I'm so pleased to introduce Love, Gods and Sinners by Camille Chong. This is an action-packed urban fantasy with a sizzling rivals to lovers romance at the heart. Set in a futuristic world where descendants of ancient magical clans don secret identities and battle on the streets of Singapore. That concludes my presentation today. Thank you so much.
Hello and welcome to Scholastic's titles for the Spring Roadshow 2026. Coming in February, just in time for Valentine's, we have the next book by Sophie Joe, who is passionate about making sure teenagers know how to recognise the difference between healthy and unhealthy relationships. Harley is in her heartbreak era, but what if romance isn't finished with her yet? Will she try to win Freddie back or give him a dose of his own medicine? Whose heartbreak era is this really? From Billy Ray, the award-winning screenwriter of the Hunger Games movie, this is a YA dystopian Romeo and Juliet set in a future drowned London. Burn the Water is a thrilling, war-torn enemies-to-lovers romance in which two rival soldiers risk everything they've known to fall in love. Perfect for fans of Chateaume and Lightlark. In March, we are also publishing A Wish So Deadly by Marilyse Loxton. On the next slide, Marilyse going to talk to you herself about this wonderful book.
Hi, I'm Marilyse Loxton, the author of A Wish So Deadly, a young adult enemies to lovers romantasy coming March 2026. The book follows the story of Talia, a young girl who accidentally steals cursed jewels from a powerful Soul Reaper and pays the price by having her sister taken from her. Talia is forced to compete on behalf of the Soul Reaper in a deadly magical tournament on an ancient island riddled with beasts to get her sister back. Her only teammate and ally is Taran, the Soul Reaper's broody but undeniably handsome protege who has secrets of his own that might just derail her plans entirely. If you like high-stakes fantasies packed with swoon-worthy enemies to lovers tension, this one might just be for you. I wrote A Wish So Deadly when I kind of thought to myself, what if I wrote a story from the perspective of the villain's henchman sent to do her dirty work? I wanted to create characters who are undeniably flawed and who the reader can't help but root for even after finding out they might not be the heroes of the story. A Wish So Deadly is coming March 2026 and is available to pre-order now.
We have a brand new and beautiful novel by Mina Ikemoto Ghosh. A breathtaking YA mystery fantasy series is illustrated with stunning Japanese-inspired artwork. Meet the Hake family hellmakers, purveyors of artisan hells to inflict upon your enemies. They'll make it personal for a price. This really unique series draws on Japanese traditions and classic mystery storytelling. It's got a huge appeal to manga fans, as well as fans of Leia Bardugo, Iron Widow, and Spirited Away. In this specific book, Onogoro is in the middle of electing a new chief, but as the deadline looms, a sword-wielding serial killer comes to town. Promising vengeance, Hio embarks on her strangest special commission yet, and learns more about the powers of being a hellmaker and the epic destiny she has before her. In May, we have Alima Omotone's newest title, Winners and Liars, being published. When Darren's favourite professor and his wife unexpectedly die, all of their students attending the reading discover they are to complete a series of challenges. Their prize? Their stately home and its multi-million-pound inheritance. But the Darnleys family are not happy to be missing out on their fortune, and they don't plan on letting it go easily. As Darren begins to uncover the secrets of Kenfield House, mysteries of her own life begin to unravel as she competes against her friends and copes with her own grief. Who will ultimately be the heir? A twisty, high-stakes game for a life-changing inheritance, bringing with chilling family secrets. This is one twisty read. Thanks so much for listening. If you do have any further questions, please reach out to us on the publicity email at publicity@scholastic.co.uk.
Hello, I'm Emma from Faber Children's, and I'm going to give you a quick whistle-stop tour of our Spring 2026 YA titles. So our first YA publication is Bad Queer by Guy Theory Kamalakantham, which is publishing on the 26th of March. It's a luminous and romantic debut verse novel navigating first love as a non-binary teenager. It's beautifully written. I think the verse novel aspect not only makes it feel very much like poetry, but also makes the text super accessible. I read it in about a day. It really is a love letter to queer futures and queer experiences. It's Heartstopper meets The Black Flamingo. It's perfect for fans of Dean Atta, Sarah Crossan, and Alice Oseman, and it's highly illustrated throughout by queer artist Chi Nwosu. Guy Theory is a really great asset and a champion queer and people of colour storyteller. They run poetry workshops at the Common Press called Wordbenders, and they really are looking to kind of drive their experience throughout this campaign in order to help and teach young people as well. They are based in London. I would say with this book that we would aim more towards 14 plus rather than 12 plus. It tackles a lot of issues regarding sexuality, sex education, and just kind of general coming of age themes into that later puberty stage. So just a heads up, it's skewed a little more older than some younger themed YA. Our second YA publication is Tom Byrne Has Left a Chat by Sean Farrelly, which is publishing on the 7th of May. In another debut and a stunning new voice in YA, this really explores grief and loneliness. It's perfect for fans of Kathleen Glasgow and John Green, and it really asks that question, what happens to your phone when you die and who has access to your online legacy? Jamie, who is our main character, he finds a phone on the side of a cliff, which did belong to Tom Byrne and has a password in the back, and he kind of falls into this deep rabbit hole of who Tom Byrne was and what eventually led to his unfortunate death. It's a really moving coming-of-age novel with a piercingly honest portrayal of loss and mental health, really beautifully backdropped with scenes of Dublin's coastal landscape. Sean is a great asset. He works with and mentors budding young writers and is really keen to get involved with events, and he is based in Dublin. So last up we have Darker Water by Emma Reed, which is publishing on the 18th of June 2026. A claustrophobic YA sci-fi thriller set in the ocean's depths, where 3 teens are trapped in a terrifying struggle for survival. This is the first in a thrilling new series, perfect for fans of Neil Schusterman, Veronica Roth, and Lauren James. When I first read this, I really felt like I was back in that 2014 Divergent genre, reading dystopian books for the first time, so it really has that great dystopian element. It's a new YA novel from an already beloved children's author. This story is set squarely in the growing genre of climate change fiction, or cli-fi, which speaks to the fears of teens and the new world they are growing up in. I think it also shifts really nicely into the curriculum and the rise of kind of dystopian books that we are seeing in the curriculum, 1984, The Handmaid's Tale. So it works in really nicely from a school and teacher's perspective as well. Emma Reed also used to be a biologist and is very keen to use her scientific knowledge to do events and generally publicise the book. You can see this throughout the book as well. It's very informative. You can tell that it's well researched, and it's just a really exciting read. And Emma Reed is based in Bath. So that's it for our YA publications for spring 2026. But if you have any questions, please do contact myself or Sarah Doyle, our publicity manager, and we will do our best to answer any queries that you might have. Thank you for listening.
2026 started with a bang for Harper Fire with A War of Wyverns, the epic sequel to the #1 Sunday Times bestseller A Language of Dragons. Readers will be reunited with Vivian Featherswallow, who has uncovered the secret language of dragons. Can she now use it to end the war? This sweeping fantasy with an incredible dark academia setting is perfect for fans of Babel, Fourth Wing, and the Scholomance trilogy. Gaslit is an incredible and unputdownable YA thriller with incredible twists and turns that will have you guessing until the very last page, from the author of Silent Sister. Perfect for fans of Holly Jackson and Karen McManus. Also this January, an epic and unforgettable fantasy adventure from a phenomenal debut voice, Petra Lord. Queen of Faces is like nothing you've ever read before. A page-turning blockbuster full of heart-pounding action, inventive magic, cinematic plot twists, and emotional gut punches. The perfect must-have new read for fans of Six of Crows, The Atlas Six, and Babel. This January, we published the paperback of Rachel Greenlaw's Shadow and Tide just in time for the hardback of Starlight and Storm, publishing this February. Starlight and Storm is the third and final irresistible adventure in the Compass and Blade trilogy, full of intrigue, sizzling romance, dark magic, and monstrous beings. Brielle and Bear Project Fairy Tale is the second in Salome Doku's stunning, full-colour graphic novel series, the first book of which was shortlisted for the Indie Book Awards in 2025. Hope, dreams, and magical secrets collide in this stunningly illustrated and irresistibly romantic coming-of-age love story, where the path to happily ever after is never easy. With an irresistible voice and an absolutely one-of-a-kind heroine, you'll fall in love with the song I wrote for Charlotte from the very first page. Celebrating difference, self-discovery, and neurodivergent identities, this book is perfect for fans of John Green, Alice Oseman, and Jennifer Niven. Out in paperback this May is Kira Azar's irresistible fantasy debut Thorn Season. With an incredible cast of characters, a high fantasy world, and a unique, dangerous magic system, Thorn Season is an epic court romantasy perfect for fans of Leigh Bardugo's Grishaverse. This May we step inside the Between Worlds B&B, where magical cozy vibes await. From an incredibly exciting new voice comes this charming, feel-good and romantic cozy YA fantasy about a travelling B&B. Amy Mae Baxter is the editorial director at Avon and the founder and editor-in-chief of Bad Form, a multi-award-winning books magazine by and about writers of colour. New for 2026 is the latest instalment in the Wildest Dreams bookshop series, a swoony rivals to lovers YA rom-com where Hollywood meets small-town bookshop, perfect for cozy nights this winter. Publishing this June, 15 Love brings the popular sports romance trend, which has dominated on TikTok, to YA audiences, perfect for fans of Lynn Painter, Jenny Han, and Alexandra Moody. Also this June comes Earl Hughes' first YA novel, an epic love story woven with fae magic and wild nature, loosely inspired by the author's love of Wuthering Heights, and the thought experiment of what would happen if it turned out that Heathcliff's lost years were spent in the land of the fae. This is publishing shortly after the highly anticipated 2026 movie starring Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi. This June we also publish an incredible debut voice, Katie Abdu, and her sharp, funny, unputdownable historical-ish novel, A Prince Among Pirates. With an incredibly distinctive and witty voice, and an unmissable cast of characters, this romp of a novel is perfect for fans of Gwen and Art Are Not in Love and Our Flag Means Death. We also have a brand new, thrilling and intoxicating tale of envy, revenge, and the price of perfection from the acclaimed author of The Goldens. And finally, this June, Molly Morris brings us another gorgeous YA rom-com with a magical twist. My Ex and Other Monsters follows Indy, whose family curse means that everyone you fall in love with turns into a literal monster. 10 Things I Hate About You meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This is the perfect teen read for 2026. Thank you for listening, and please do get in touch with us if you have any questions or would like to hear more about what we have planned for 2026.